نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. We will continue with our Arabic grammar lessons, our lessons in Nahwa. So previously we discussed the tawabi'. So they were words which did not carry a case because of themselves, but because they were following another word that was influenced directly by an amil. So their word governance was due to the word they were following, the matbu'. And the last tabi' we discussed was atful bayan, and we said that was when we expressed the matbu' using a more familiar name. So there might be questions regarding what's the difference between badal and atful bayan. So if it was not clear, then badal is the main purpose and what is actually intended of a sentence. So we might have said Ra'aytu Zaydan Ra'sahu, I saw Zayd his head. So in that statement, Ra'sahu is a type of badal al-ba'd, and that is what is the intention of what I saw. So the purpose of the sentence is to explain that I saw Zayd's head. However, in Atful Bayan, the main purpose is still the matbu'. So I could say جاء أمير المؤمنين علي وقام أبو حفص عمر. So Abu Hafs stood, Abu Hafs Umar stood. So Abu Hafs, which is the matbu', is still the main focus of the sentence. So moving on today, now that we've discussed tawabi', that is all of the declinable nouns. All of the mu'rabs, the words which are mu'rab, have now been discussed. So remember, mu'rabs are words which actually change. Their last vowel sign, their cases change because of an amil. If there's a word which influences their governance, then they change. But now we are going to discuss those nouns which do not change. They are known as mabni. So just to explain again, ism al-mu'rab is joined with another word and it's not similar to mabni al-asl. You could say that. You could describe ism al-mu'rab, declinable nouns, as nouns which are joined. So they're joined with other words because their case is influenced by their joining with other words, and they are not similar to mabni al-asl, which are madi and particles, and amr hadir, this imperative verbs, 6 imperative verb forms. So when we say ism al-mu'rab is not joined, we mean tarkib. It's not influenced by another amil. Ism al-mabni, however, so ism al-mabni is when the last vowel doesn't change when the amil or the awamil change. So it's a noun that occurs without being joined, in other words, being influenced by other words. And it is similar to mabni al-asl. So it's either a mabni al-asl, it's similar to mabni al-asl, like it's similar to a verb, it's similar to a particle, and we'll see examples of these soon. So a word can be mabni or will be mabni when it's not structured with anything else, like the letters, when it's not structured with anything else. So when it's not compounded or structured with anything else. So that when the word is by itself and we are not putting in a grammatical, we are not giving it a grammatical position in a sentence to make it halatul rafa, halatul nasab, and halatul jar. We are just saying Zayd, for example. Then that word by itself will be mabni, and it won't have any vowel. So, and it's like when we name a child, we call them Zayd, for example. We don't say Zayd, his name is Zaydun, or his name is Zaydan or Zaydin. He will be called Zayd. And this, and the dal will be unvoweled. It has a sakin there. So likewise, letters like alif, ba, ta, tha, they are, when they are by themselves independently, when they are by themselves and they are not in words, then they will be counted as mabni, and you'll just say it as alif. You won't say alifun or ba'un or ta'un, etc. Likewise, the numbers, when you're just counting up, wahid, ifnan, thalatha, just saying 1, 2, 3, arba, khamsa. You don't have to say wahidun, ithnani, thalathatun. You could just say the numbers when you're counting, independent of a sentence. And we've also gave the example of Zaid. When it's by itself, then it's mabni in reality upon a sukoon, but it has the potential to be mu'rab when it is in a sentence. So when words aren't in any grammatical sentence, then they will not be mu'rab. When they are by themselves, they will be mabni, but they have the potential to be mu'rab. However, there are some words which are similar to true mabnis. So mabni al-asal means original or true mabni words, which, like I've said before, are particles. So particles like the huruf al-jar, which we've discussed in the section about majrurat, the genitive case, like min. You never say the vowel of min or the case of min doesn't become accusative or nominative or genitive. It can change from from being voweled to voweled, only so it's easier to join it to the next word. But but grammatically speaking, its case does not change. Or something like fi, it doesn't change, or li or bi or wa. These kind of words, they don't change. They're particles. So likewise, if words on the pattern of if'al, ifala, if'alu, ifalat, if'alta, if'alna, if'alti, sorry, it was if'ali and if'ala, if'alna. I'm just distracted. My daughter's running around. Sorry about that. And the past tense verbs, so like fa'ala, fa'ala, fa'alu, fa'alat, fa'alata, fa'alna, fa'alta, fa'altuma, etc. When words resemble these, then that's known as being similar to mabni al-asal. And these words are essentially nouns that have their own independent meanings, but they generally require some type of indication or an indicator to be complete. So they aren't complete by themselves. So that makes them similar to particles, because particles are words which need other things to be complete. So in that sense, these nouns which are similar to mabni al-asal, they require a indication, a qarina, a contextual indication, which can be a follow-up clause to give more complete meaning. For example, you might have an ishara, which is like a demonstrative noun, which is like this or them. So the word this and them, they're nouns because it's talking about, or they're talking about specific things and or specific people, but they need other words to give more complete meaning. Or you have something like mausul, which is a relative noun, like what and that and which, because they refer to nouns within themselves. They have nounal meanings, but they need context to be understood correctly and fully. Likewise, if words are smaller than 3 letters, like pronouns, like pronouns, then like the na in jitana. So you have na in jitana, which is an objective pronoun, so zamir mansub munfasil. So it means us, you came to us. So it's that nun alif is less than 3 letters, and that will also be considered a similar to mabni al-asal. It's similar to a particle. So words that also have the meaning of huruf, like hada, which we've also already discussed, and Arabic numbers from 11 to 19, they are also similar to mabni al-asal because of the similarity to huruf. So as we've said, the hukam and the ruling of mabni al-asal is that the endings do not change because of a change in word governance. And the harakat, So the vowels, they will be known by their vowels still. Like you could still say they end with a dhamma, fatha, or kasra. And if it has a sakin in the end, you'll say it's a waqf. So you'll say مبني على الضم أو مبني على الفتح أو مبني على الكسر. So for example, حيث is مبني على الضم, and أين is مبني على الفتح, and هؤلاء is مبني على الكسر. So these words have these vowels not because of anything governing any word influencing or governing them, but because that's the way they will always be read and spoken. So we can divide the ism al-mabni into different types. So you could say al-mudmarat, which refers to pronouns. Then we have asma'ul ishara, demonstrative nouns. Al-mawsulat, relative nouns. Asma'ul af'al, verbal nouns. Asma'ul aswat, nouns which represent sounds, so nouns of sounds. Al-murakkabat, compounds. So we're talking about we're not when you say murakkab, when we're talking about compounds here, we're not talking about compounding through idafa, annexation, or attribution, but when two words are just put together without any kind of relationship or link, just to create something new. Then you have kinayat, which is metonymy, and these are we'll explain these in more detail later on, but they're just words which have indications as well. Like maybe they might be referring to a limit, like above, up, top, after, like up, but down, before and after. And then you have some particles as well, some dhuruf. So when you say dhuruf, it's referring to words which have the meanings of time and place, and we will explain those in detail, inshallah. And that was an introduction to Mabni, which is the current lesson we're on. Inshallah, from next time we will begin by discussing the pronouns, which we could say is the first category of Mabni words which we will be looking at. And so inshallah, if you have any questions or feedback, please leave a comment. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين.